Esports League action because we are here, Ember Esports. GCC Allsmite versus Souless. It is your boy Huey with me. It is my boy Gareth, and we are going to bring you some fire league commentary tonight. And my boy Gareth, I heard you went into the trenches. You went down in there. You found some info. Some of you even said that you can't even bring out on the air. So what are you able to bring up while we get into this first round?
Listen, I can't tell you everything. You know, maybe off stream I can fill you in a little bit, but it's funny that you mentioned the trenches because the owner of Souless Esports here, you know, right above me, they were stuck in the trenches of iron for many years, one-tricking Vigar in literally every single role. I'm talking top lane, jungle, mid lane, and this was a couple of years ago before they had the role quests, before they had a lot of the, you know, how do we say it, like the more accepting mechanics to make sure that all champions can fit in all roles. So he was definitely in the trenches there, and he's seen some things down there. His account actually got down to a +8, -24 situation. It was pretty rough, but you know, listen, man, we all start somewhere, and he's definitely rocketed himself up into the upper echelons of the league ladder because I think he now sits at about you know, around platinum, which is, you know, top 20% of players. So that's pretty darn good if I say so myself. And getting into this draft, you know, there's no shortage of fire. We got the Melia with those cozy campfires and the Shyvana, who is literally a dragon. But aside from those two champions, Huey, I gotta ask, what champions are you looking for this year or
Okay.
this game?
So I'm gonna be for real, man. Me myself coming from top support. One of my one trickers here is the one and only the gem guy over on Smite side. We got a
Ooh.
Tarek locked in here.
Yeah.
I gotta say, and I hate saying this because then like it happens. Tarek's a sleeper pick, bro. If
He
you're
is.
not, if
He
you're
is.
if you're playing bot lane and you're not picking Tarek, if Tarek's not in your arsenal, please go spend some time in the practice tool. Practice the E.
That's what
Once
I'm saying.
you start to learn how crazy that shatter is, and once you start to realize that you give everybody a stun, every single character.
Mhm.
Some characters shouldn't have a stun, honestly, and you'll see why once you start to angles. So, especially with Samira having her dash
Oh,
in,
yes.
all the
Oh,
all-ins as well
my
too.
goodness.
You
Yeah.
can get a beautiful 4-5 man setup, a
Yep.
nice little pop up, and a very easy S trigger. And Samira will start making some devils cry.
Yes. Yes, absolutely, and it's really fun. It's really funny that you mentioned the Samira because it is going to be locked in for Allsmite, and same with the Lilia. Again, you know, dare I say, a bit of a sleeper pick. We saw a lot of popularity, you know, maybe a year or two ago, kind of falling out of flavor. But with you know, Tarek as well. Again, some characters shouldn't have a stun. Lilia is very much one of those champions because without her sleep, she does, you know, kind of no damage. Her W is the big damage tool, and if she now gets a stun for free, which, you know, it's
Right.
very hard to dodge because she's moving at you with 500 move speed. How are you going to survive against her early? And with Shyvana being a scaler, I mean, Solis could be having a very tough time.
I'm surprised with the Shyvana pick right now. Shyvana, I don't know. I don't feel Shyvana's in a very comfortable position
Right?
right now. It used to
Right?
be, oh, we're gonna go for Drakes, we're gonna get our scaling up, and we're just gonna kind of become big dragon, and then later in the game, we just go for our Q, we blow everybody up, call it a day. Now it's like it's not necessarily really there anymore.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I'm not really the best comfort. I'm not really very comfortable with the Shyvana pick. I
Right,
love
right.
Poppy, especially if that Poppy's going to the top lane. My friend's having a
Oh,
lot of
no.
success with the Poppy top side. I'm assuming, yeah, with where it's going, I'm gonna go Shyvana, Poppy top, Aurora
Sure.
mid,
Yeah.
and Caitlyn
Yep.
Milo. That's
Yeah.
a great bot lane there. Very comfortable. You're gonna have the
Absolutely.
range. You're gonna stay nice and cozy with the fire. So I like where Solus is, except for Shyvana.
Well, I mean, sure. I mean, we could talk about Shyvana a little bit later. I want to turn your attention to GCCE because
Oh
I don't
man.
think we're paying enough attention to this. They have Lilia, Tarek, Samira, Viego, and Zyra. Arguably three junglers on that team. Are like where is anyone going? I assume it's a Lilia top lane, Viego jungle, Samira Tarek bot lane, and Zyra mid. But I'm probably just confused as you are, Huey. I'm not gonna lie to you.
So, I mean, their name is Allsmite, right? So
Yeah.
they're
Well,
really working their name out there, honestly.
yeah.
I think, though, if you put it on paper, though, and you look at the ultimates instead of really looking at per the characters, their ultimates are ridiculous together. Now,
Very true, yeah.
executing everything and able to get through lane, how will you get through lane? I'm assuming, who's the jungler? That's the real question. I feel like it's gonna have to be
Right.
out of Viego and Lily.
Right. See,
And I guess if you're gonna try to assume who it is, who's worse in lane? And I'm gonna have to assume it's the Viego who's worse in lane. So then that means Viego,
right.
you're
Yeah.
going to jungle. Like Lilia top is fine. You
Yes.
have a little bit of AP scaling into the Poppy. Now you're
Mhm.
forcing Poppy to build that MR and allowing
Exactly.
Samir to kind of get that lethality AD for free.
Mhm.
Cool. Especially Zyra as well too. A lot of AP burst in her ultimate. A mean grasp with her E as well too.
Mhm.
Can spend daylights. Everybody low with Samira and Lilia just kind of burning away. Everyone surviving because of Taric.
Yeah.
Now Viego just comes in and presses R. Everybody dies. So really, Allsmite's theory here is one of us has to survive. And as
Yeah.
long as one of us survives, we're okay and we'll just wipe everything else out. And like,
Mhm.
I like it, but I don't like it in a competitive standpoint. I really like how Souless is more coming out. This is more of a very, we're all five of us, we're here, we're the Avengers. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
see your tank, you see your ADC, you see your support, and you see your mage. You know who's going to be doing the damage. You know who's going to be your front line. They're playing a very comfortable front to back. They have their CC, they have their damage. I really like it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I kind of like how reckless Allsmite is coming right now.
Oh,
I can't lie.
1000%.
Like,
1000%. And you know, as we're kind of talking about this draft, I do really, really like the draft that Solus has come up with because yes, obviously, All Smite, they can get onto this Caitlyn very, very easily. You know, Samira, like we have been saying, you give her a stun, she's dashing through, that's an instant S trigger, she blows up Caitlyn every day of the week. However, the Melio is very, very good at, you know, obviously cleansing the stuns because of ultimate.
right.
They have the Q to potentially knock people away, but it's not just the Samira. It can knock away the Viego after it's finished ulting. It can knock away the Lilia, probably a little bit harder because she has move speed. But Poppy has a point and click, you know, engage, be gone button, which is going to be good against the Samira, the Lilia, most likely against the Viego. And on top of that, her W as well stops all that mobility. So even if the Samira does manage to land a stun on Caitlyn, if Poppy's able to come in and pop W before Samira gets on there, it's going to be a very, very hard engage for Allsmite. And even if we're putting the Zyra in the lane and we're having the Viego gank, I assume it's going to be Aurora favored, and if that is the case, how's the Viego and Zyra going to be able to catch the Aurora? She has two forms of mobility, and it could be a very, very hard early game for Allsmite.
Oh no, it definitely can. And I like how Solus kind of prepped and planned against this. You have Aurora, you have the Poppy. You end up in the wrong bush, you don't have that area warded. You get CC'd, Aurora can pop just about anybody on the side of Allsmite. So their vision is going to have to be really, really well here. And also another thing, Aurora pops you get down to 80-20%. All you need is an ace in a hole from down the street, and you're just about gone. And you're out of the fight too. And you take out anyone off Allsmite, a lot of their damage output is also gone. So they really gonna have to get through this they're gonna have to get through this laning phase relatively well. You can't really have someone going super crazy. We can't really have an 0-3 lane, really. If we have an 0-3 lane anywhere, that's gonna be a real big hole there that Solus can kind of just abuse and go crazy on.
Absolutely. And as we're talking about all these abilities, this does kind of remind me of a very special question that I did ask a few of the players. So, Huey, I actually do have the honor of asking you, if you could take any non-ultimate ability from League of Legends and use it in real life, what would you take?
Any non-ultimate?
Any non-ultimate ability. Udir's ulti doesn't count because it's technically not an ulti. But as you're thinking about that, I do want to read a couple of the players' answers.
Let's see.
So the top laner for Solus said that he would take Singed E to flip the haters, which I think is pretty funny. Muerte, the ADC for Solus, says that he would take RAE so that someone will love them.
Oh, wow,
it's a little morbid. Yeah. And then what's it called? The team contact for Allsmite says that he would take Twitch Q because it has very little downsides and invisibility is really darn useful.
Hey, no, that's pretty cool. Hey, that's a good one, man. That's a pretty good one. I mean, honestly, you're gonna have to be something that gives me movement speed. It's gonna have to be one that gives me movement
Interesting.
speed. I keep thinking of Blitz, but then I'm like, then I get the
Oh
slowdown
yeah, the
after.
slow. Right,
So
right.
no, it'll just be Ramus Q. There you go.
Ooh,
Just so I
Ramus Q.
can just be
Interesting.
out. There you go.
Well, how come you would take Ramus Q? Is it just
Just
like
be
run
fast.
faster?
Gotta be
Okay.
fast, man. Like
Sure. Personally, I would
ramping
take
speed too.
Zillion. I would take Zillion E, not only so I can make people faster, but I could also make someone slower,
Oh,
and I
see,
could make
there
them
you go.
really slow. You know what I
See,
mean?
there you go. There's a utility right there.
100%.
While we wait though, we're only a few moments away for game one to load in. We're gonna take a quick break, and game one will be on the way. Do not go anywhere, Ember. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, week 7, the final week for groups is here. Allsmite will be taking blue side, Souless on red. And we talked about a little bit on the composition here. It's a little reckless, and we're excited for both teams here, and these definitely matter. So I kind of like even more how crazy blue side is kind of getting. But with that being said, it is your boy Huey. With me is the one, the only, the myth, their legend, Mr. Gareth. And again, you were out in the barracks there. Oh, wow. Look at the respect here.
I was just going to say, this is aura right here. You know, it's not often that you see emote spamming in league or in tournaments in general, but to go up to and just have a GA and say, let's just chill and dance, that's even more rare.
That is actually super crazy. But now the top lane is drawing the line in the battle sand there, saying, hey, it is not happening here. As soon as we see each other, it is on site. And we were correct in our assumptions just about where everyone is going, except Dandadan will be piloting Viego in the mid lane there, as it will be excuse me, why can I am losing her in the jungle there.
Zyra.
But it will be a Zyra, the plant lady, in the jungle for GCCE. Kind of interesting there. You rarely see Viego in the mid lane.
Yeah, honestly, you know, Lane Viego has been nerfed over the years because obviously Riot wants him to be a jungle. But I do remember there was a time where Zyra jungle was actually very popular, and I think the clear was something like absolutely nutty, like a 245 or something like that. So I wonder if it's changed a whole lot. And I imagine that with the jungle pets, it's not too bad because obviously Zyra can stay very, very healthy with her plants and, you know, start other camps early, which does make it extremely useful. But Huey, you know, you said you're a top support player. Obviously, you're a big fan of the Taric. Have you really seen any Lilias running around top lane?
No, not really. Not in a very, very long time. Honestly, I feel AP is in a weird state in the top side. You're not seeing too many AP top champions. It's not that it can't be said and done, but really it's your tanks such as Poppy, Sion. Those are really who are thriving right now. And then probably I would say next are probably your bruiser fighters. And sometimes those bruiser fighters can get ahead of your tanks and really just kind of wreck house. Oh, Ignite gonna light here onto Lou. Then they're gonna find a stun, but now gonna trade a tower. And now that's going to be on the Lucifer side. Dag. That was a pretty decent trade, or starting to be a decent trade for Dan, but now they might have to retreat back in the mid lane.
Yeah, they did kind of overstay their welcome there on that tower, although I do like the Ignite tech to reveal the Aurora to continue the trade going. There's something to be said for that, but again, Aurora is one of the slipperiest champions in the world, but we'll shut up about that as the junglers are going to start to fight over this bot crab. Oh, E going to miss as well. Zyra could be in some trouble. I actually don't know who got that. Zyra did get it, look at that.
Yeah.
GCCE pulling a little bit ahead in the farm department as the Shyvana has to take the walk of shame up to the top crab, and we'll meet Viego on the way.
It's a little unfortunate there, but it's not going to be that much of a trade there. You're really opting and going for the double scuttle there. So it is just going to be a trade, and it may be a possible push here for this side here. And it's kind of like I'm split between both team comps here. I'm really enjoying the Poppy. I enjoyed the Aurora top in the mid. My Caitlyn, and you know, is very comfortable. But then on the other side, you have the Taric for me. I'm interested to see what this Lilia can really do. Zyra in the jungle, it's not bad. I actually really enjoy it. That level RR, that level 6, really can make a huge difference later.
Yeah, I would expect that the Zyra does want to pay a lot of attention to bot lane, you know, not just because it's the only lane with the most reliable CC, but also, again, like, we're seeing a lot of this damage on, you know, every single laner, but also getting these dragons away from Shyvana is so darn important because Shyvana's passive scales with dragons, so if you can, you know, nullify, you know, 1 or 2, even in the early game, it is so massive because it puts her so far behind. And so, yeah, I would imagine that Shyvana is going to have to respond, but again, they need level 6 to essentially just be a champion because, as we saw in that first Scuttle Crab fight, the Zyra just kind of walked up and said, yeah, I'll take that. Thanks for the leash, little bro.
They're mine.
And that was it.
Yeah. And it's going to be a little dangerous there. You're not going to be able to get the real solo Shyvana sneaks for jungles, because if you do get caught out trying to go for any jungles, any solo drakes, you're gonna be in trouble, and you will get killed. On the other hand, Zyra going for a really nice sneaky early drake has all the time in the world. The plant's also going to help. A lot of pressure in the bot lane, so they're going to rotate right over. I think bot lane has realized the shenanigans that GCCE are up to, but I think it's too little too late. I don't even think they really can contest it, as blue team will be the first one to secure the drake, and that was only out on the map for 30 seconds.
Yeah, like again, the damage on this comp from CC, we'll just call them that, cannot be understated. They can melt objectives, they can melt champions. The only thing they can't really melt is towers. But yet again, we do have those void grubs coming up in just a couple minutes. So I would imagine that if Soul does want a fighting chance in this game, they will need to invest a little bit more, potentially even Melio roaming. But do you really want to leave your Caitlyn alone in a Taric Samira lane?
I mean, out of all champs, it's not that bad. She does have an escape route, but if she gets caught, it is wraps. But honestly, let's be for real. As we head over to the top side, Rev getting a little greedy onto the poppies, seeing that solo bolo, and they're going to have to flash to escape in response of the gank. It's a little unfortunate, but I mean, I would have went for it too. It seems it seems pretty good at the time, honestly. But you know, wards help to let you know if the jungler's in the area.
Yeah, flashes exchanged, and now down on the bot side, Samira, you know, maybe a bit of an interesting move, because now Samira can't really get any minions down there, and Aurora, again, we see this this stun technology that you were mentioning about earlier, but Aurora, probably one of the harder champions to gank on the side of Soul.
Yeah, anyone who is mobile is always difficult to kind of get a tag on. But I mean, again, as long as you can get that tag on, any ADC can get popped. But I mean, I don't know. It's always a difficult situation when you have to leave your ADC. As we head over to the top side here. Nice catch, the stun going to catch Drake, but now Drake going to dragon up the flash after the chase after Tamora. But now, Dan just pressing R on a low target is going to find the execute. That's going to be first blood. Bot lane for the other side of Souless is going to realize that Taric isn't there and going to apply a bit of pressure here, try to crash this wave in. But GCCE will still find the first blood of the match. Now Lewis in trouble, has to step back, doesn't have a lot of mana here to trade. We'll get the exit prop. But either way, that's going to be a kill under Dan, and that's going to help them get a little crazier. As now Ray putting in so much damage, was ready to put Poppy to sleep. Poppy with the knockback behind a tower. Nice aim there. So Rev will drop the sleepy time. IDK. Oh, actually, scratch that. The sleepy time wasn't used just yet. Now forcing Poppy's ultimate out. IDK will find the solo bolo kill in the top side. Not enough MR just yet in the Poppy's arsenal. So that's going to be 2 kills unanswered. While now they rotate over to Void, the objective control. And now not only mid, but now top side finding a solo kill. This is exactly what GCCE needs to get this early game in order.
Yeah, and if you are Soul, this is looking very, very bad. Although the gold graphs don't really say, you know, they're only 800 gold behind. You know, the fact that Viego, arguably the weakest laner out of all of CC's comps, was able to find the kill. Then, of course, the Lilia finds the kill and burns the Poppy ultimate. So even if Poppy did survive and Soul did rotate, the Poppy cannot just knock away the jungler like they usually would, because, again, that tool's taken away. But we'll shut up about that, as Viego, maybe overstaying his welcome just a little bit too much, gets feared up by the Shyvana dash, and that is going to be a free kill for Jake. So honestly, not too bad, you know, swinging some gold over towards the jungler, but Jake is just very, very weak right now. And again, we're seeing the Zyra just kind of walk into their jungle, take camps right in front of their faces, and they literally cannot do anything. They do have this ultimate online now, which is going to give them a little bit of a saving grace, but for the underdogs in this last week of regular season, you know, it's just kind of looking bleak.
Yeah, you gotta be extremely careful. The early game matters here. Nice flash read into the Caitlyn, and now Negi trying to get the S ready to go, but I don't think they opted for the dive. They still gonna let the S rip as it is going to be decent amounts of damage there, but it's not going to be enough there. I gotta give it to Volva, knowing the range and landing that Eon Flash. It's difficult, and he makes it look easy there in the bot lane. Unfortunately, they don't find anything, but Panda might be in trouble, walking right into a root, into the double plants. Talmora will pick up their support of Souless, and now without Milo in the bot lane, they may opt for the dive here, but they may also retreat back, and it may rotate over. As now Drake is now being spawned. Now we see why the dive was going to be called back here, as now the second Drake is now being spawned, ready to go. I don't think there's a test available for the side of Souless, and that's going to be the second Drake right off the map. You give GCC an inch, they will take a mile, and these guys have not looked back since the 5-minute mark.
They absolutely have not, and again, you know, the gold graphs do not reflect it. GCCE, oh my goodness, is absolutely just running away with this game. You know, Allsmite, again, their laners are supposed to be weak in the early game, but they are just dominating the map. And you know, we're looking top lane. The Poppy has only eaten a Lilia E and 2 Lilia Qs. It shouldn't be that much damage, but Poppy, they've only got a tier in Merc Treads. They're not the tankiest champion ever just yet, and you know, no damage as well. They cannot reach this deer. Bambi's just running circles around them, and there's nothing they could do. So if you know, if you see a way back into this game from Soul, where do you think it's going to be coming from?
I think it's in the Aurora. Aurora still has a gold lead, isn't too far behind. We mentioned it a little earlier. We're gonna have to hold this there. The sleepy time here. This might be a really good gank. IDK finds the CC. He might burn away, but is going to live. He's barely. Really nice gank there. Not even close. Not even on one. We're just going to keep it moving as we head down to the bot side here. It was kind of looking like a TVA2 angle, but you still have to respect that Caitlyn at range and damage as well, too.
Again, yeah, you know, like, despite how much damage Allsmite has, which is, you know, what I'm going to be calling GCCE, of course, Soul has so much poke in their comp because, you know, even though Shyvana is a very, very engaged heavy champion, she can just sit back and use her E. Aurora has very nice poke. Caitlyn's entire kit is poke. Even Melio, to some extent, has a little bit of poke. And even Poppy has a little bit of poke in the form of that passive auto attack shield. So I feel like if Soul can't really go up for these fights while they're down in gold, poking is probably going to be their best option because I mean, let's be honest, man. He's not going to be dealing the most damage. He is the playmaker for Allsmite. They cannot move around the map or try to start any team fights without him. And if he gets poked out, that is a lot of fighting power that you've just lost.
It's a really good angle, and Tarek does suffer from approaching and getting up front. Until you really get those items built in, you are going to really get poked up. And honestly, Aurora, Caitlyn are the perfect just for a little poke, keep them away. Even a Taric at 50% is a dangerous threat, because listen, we get at least start trading 1-for-1. They can start scaling and start getting things in order. But now Talmora here for the gank. Nagu going to find Red Panda, and now the issue is Talmora, but the damage is not going to be enough, as Caitlyn, looking for that 1-for-1 trade, will instead find a 2-for-0. Souless on the map with 2, but now it's about to be 1,000 gold lead for the side of GCCE.
It's just going to be even more, because with the Void Grub secured, that is probably the one weakness of their comp, and now it has been solved. They just got 2 tower plates, and they hit the tower once. You know, granted, it was crystallized, but even still, the Poppy, who is, you know, I mean, dare I say, one of the best top laners at guarding these towers, because they just smack you into a wall, Q you, and then auto you for half your health. They could not do anything, and they consistently have been struggling against Rev on this Lilia. And actually, we're going to be seeing the supports take a trip up to top lane as Tarek leaves, just for Melio to come back.
I think this is a really good angle here. Again, you said Tarek is the show starter. You kind of have to get an answer here from Red Panda. Try to assist the lanes as much as you can and try to stop this ramping from the side of GCCE as much as possible.
Ooh, Tarek gonna line up a meaty stun, and I mean, hey, listen, I'd like to cast this, but I think Red Panda is just dead. You know, it's just a matter of getting in the coffin.
Oh no!
Wait just a moment. Actually, the hammer time does come down, is gonna knock away the deer, and that's actually to be saving the Melio. Look at that. You know what? It's never too soon. That's all I will say.
Right, never give up. It was a lot of resources used, And now Jake kind of in their losum here, as we do only have a couple minutes left, or a few moments here, before Rift Herald is going to be summoned. And now Rift Panda, without ultimate and without the Poppy ultimate, it's going to be difficult to kind of get a handle on these objective control here. Again, as you notice, the 2 Drakes in the pocket of GCCE. Not only the 2 Drakes, you even got the Voids, and not even 2, all 3. And now with the Rift Herald, this is hard. This is going to be super difficult.
Yeah.
You're going to be able to summon this Rift Herald, put it down in any lane. If I had to pick, I'm going to have to assume maybe top. We might just go for the easy mid pick and just now rotate on into the 3rd Drake. And if GCCE is able to secure this 3rd Drake, they will be in soul point position. And they can really just kind of look to farm and kind of continue cruising on through this first game.
Yeah, Soul had to get a pick before that dragon spawn because now they're put into a lose-lose situation. Are they going to be fighting for the dragon, or do they just give it up? And again, as you said, give Allsmite soul points. And it looks like they are going to try to get that Tarek to be engaging with a nice flash stun. Is going to be stopped by the Melio, but again, it's just such a hard decision because again, that's more tower plates that Allsmite was able to take, and they don't even have to touch the tower. They just let the Rift Herald do the work, and now they just
100%.
rely on the ridiculously strong team fight, which is going to be starting off now. Tarek gets picked off a little bit early, but that ulti is only going to drop onto the Zyra. So that's invulnerability, I mean, dare I say, kind of wasted. They're just a little bit too far back. That is a huge Shyvana engage, hitting 3 members with a nice big fear. Ace in the hole going to be used, but can they kill the Samira? Yes, they can. The vehicle going to be popped the ulti as well. Can they actually find a kill? No, Aurora is just too slippery. And that's a double kill for the Shyvana, as well as a free dragon for Soul. They have just revitalized and found a way back in.
As you said, the show starter is Tarek, finding that pick on Tarek there, and realizing the invulnerability was off the map there for them. That was easy pickings there. Really nice realization and engage from the Shyvana to kind of just separate the group. If that ultimate for Samir was able to go up, it would have definitely changed things. But they didn't, and now Soul is in position and able to start turning things around here.
100% Soul. Definitely going to be extremely happy with that one. And again, these guys are the underdogs because a little bit of team lore here. This is the 2nd tournament that the Soul roster has played together. Otherwise, they have all been on different teams. And I'll talk about more once we get into the 2nd game. But when I tell you that this roster has fought tooth and nail to play with each other, I mean it. But, you know, for the underdogs, again, I really love to root for him, and Soul, that is just going to feel so good because it was just not long ago that we were just glazing on our hands and knees how much Allsmite had this game in the bag despite only like a, what, 1,000 gold lead? You know, they were in the driver's seat, their champions were so strong, but now Soul has shown us the other side of the coin where, again, if this Tarek gets stopped early, there is nothing left. They cannot do anything.
Yeah, that ultimate needs to land there. Unfortunately, that E is going to whiff a little bit. And again, it's a very difficult spot to be in with Tarek. It's a hard one to hit, to say the least here. As now as they head back. 5-5 right now. Shyvana looking for the flank on the top side of River. They have to respect that there. I think they are going to step a bit back.
Yeah, one thing I do want to pay attention to is these items. Actually, no, we'll get to that later. Shyvana going to be caught out. He's saved by the Milo, but they're just going to send it actually right into the Zyra ulti. He's going to get knocked out, but they are taking no damage whatsoever.
Oh yeah,
Poppy gonna flash
nice
in
flash.
just to rub salt into the wound. That is a very dead poison ivy. And once again, a big chunk of Allsmite's gold is going to be gone. That Zyra, even though they don't have the most burst in the game, that is a lot of DPS and a lot of area denial that has just been taken away.
Oh yeah. And I don't think they can really approach this here. I really know they want to get the revenge and get the money, get Samira going, but just going, yeah, I think the smart call here was kind of taking that step back.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really enter onto a Caitlyn because, you know, there's more traps than an anime convention. You just can't do it. You get stuck so easily. And, just as I say that, Samira gonna find it. You know, again, Caitlyn without the traps is just a minion with a sniper rifle. And again, Samira very good at turning her into a giant bag of gold for a nice paycheck.
You gotta be careful there. I think that was a little just overzealous there. I think the false safety of having a mid tower here. But you're at 19 minutes. You know, even Samira can take a tower shot or two now. As long as there's really not heavy CC underneath them, the tower ramping is not going to necessarily kill them just yet. And, you know, now as we head to the gold graph, check out last here. Man, you love to see this man put on a show for us. But you see the gold being shifted as it is going back and forth. It is stabilizing now, as it has only been about 1,000 gold lead, the biggest shift here for this game one.
Absolutely, and you know, with that tower in Allsmite's pockets, that is going to swing it more into their favor. But it looks like it's actually to be called to start the Baron up, which, you know, generally I am against the early Barons, but with Zyra, again, you can actually do it surprisingly fast. And again, with Allsmite's name, they have like 5 junglers on their team, so they can actually shred this objective very, very quickly. So Soul is going to have to start crowding around and figuring out how to play this. Poppy with a nice engage onto the Samira is probably going to be taking out the Tark. That should be their prior numero uno, as they do get knocked up, and no, they're just not going to be able to find it. Tark only going to be popped as well. That's going to force the disengage, which is going to burn that ulti. But now Soul has everybody here. They have that Shyvana, which has been a huge headache for Allsmite in basically every team fight that we've seen once they hit level 6, and it's actually going to be called to just leave.
It was a really good angle. Again, I really like GCC's 0 to 100. Just do not look back. Go as hard as we can in the paint. I really like their call. It's just a little unfortunate that they lost a bit of their firepower in this mid-exchange here. They should be at Soul Point if everything went their way. But right now, with 30 seconds left, we're contesting for the 4th Drake, which could possibly be GCC's Soul Point. And right now, Souless doing a really good job finding a fantastic flank angle through their own, through GCC's own red side. Now, Nagu in trouble. Doesn't matter if you find the trigger, it's not going to be enough. As now, Dragon will be spawned. Viego finds the bot tower. Lilia will find top side. And now you're just going to have to give up this 2nd Drake. Yeah, you get a little bit of coverage here from being able to secure tier 3, both bot and top. But overall, you're still losing this Drake. This should be your Soul Point. Instead, this is Soul's 2nd Ocean Drake. And that's going to stack a lot better and feel a lot better than an Infernal and a Chemtech.
I absolutely agree, and actually, wait a minute, Shyvana maybe trying to eat a little bit too much chicken. Gets a little greedy, might be punished for it, burns the flash as well, but actually that might save her as Tarek not able to catch up as another flash is burned. I don't know who did it, but also, oh goodness gracious, Viego's on that thing too. Wait just a moment, Shyvana, drop it down low, he's going to get the execute, which does actually mean that this investment is absolutely worth it, and they're just continuing to go. Again, it's the double down mentality that Allsmite has, but one thing that I did want to mention is that this is Ocean Souls, and with Soul having such a good poke comp, they're going to be able to use this regen so much more than Allsmite. Oh my goodness. And where they just beaming Tarek in the face just to add, you know, insult to injury and try to get a trade.
As you mentioned it there, the poke is there. And having a really decent lane between Lewis and Muerte. They didn't really suffer that much in the mid lane, or excuse me, in the middle phase of the game. They kind of just hung out, enjoyed time, and for the most part, is able to level up. They have their items, i.e. built for Caitlyn. The Luden's Echo is on their side, and really, if we kind of look at things with GCCE not snowballing, Souless does scale better. They are the better composition on paper, as now we see them attempting to go for this Baron play.
Yeah, and Allsmite, they're just kind of standing around. The Lilia is on standby. They do have a very, very strong sleep if they can manage to hit it, which they do manage to hit the jungler, but I think it is going to be taken a little bit too fast. Tark ulti popped as well, but Poppy with a nice ulti is going to drop the, I believe that's the, I don't know, someone got hit. That is the Zyra. And wait just a moment as we're looking at that. Rev drops down super duper low. The fight's not over. They're going to keep on going. That Shyvana is unstoppable. Jake gets another kill onto the carry of Allsmite. That's a nice knockup, but it's just a little bit too late as that Poppy displacement is going to stop it from happening, but they're not done yet. They just want even more. Tarek, the mascot of Allsmite, is going to be brought down, and that's an ace in the hole through the face. Muerte gets another, and they're still looking for more. We were talking about Allsmite having a double down comp, but I think Soul has given them a run for their money.
Yeah, that was a little weird there. The 4 being grouped there, with Dandadan not being part of the group either. And it was just the trigger being pulled a little late there. After the Baron buff, there should have been a full retreat callback. It should have not been the full-on fight that we saw. And GCCE, any little bit of lead or any bit of attempt that they thought that they had this game has now kind of went all the way down the drain there after that.
Mhm. And I mean, yeah, you said it right there. Like, I feel like Allsmite, they've been so strong, so dominant in the early parts of this game that they probably were just like, all right, that's chill. Let them get low from the Baron, then we just come in, we sweep house. Sure, we don't get the buff, but we can at least take 5 out of their hands. But Soul was like, you gotta check your math, and they just rolled. They just rolled over everyone of Allsmite, and yeah, we're seeing the Viego starting to split push because at this point, that's kind of all he has left because he can't get into these fights. It's been proven time and time again that Soul can peel this Caitlyn so insanely well, and with an unstoppable dash from the Shyvana, you know, whatever stun that Tarek has or whatever stun that Viego has, it no longer matters. The Shyvana could just negate it.
Yeah, I mean, they are just too tanky now. Again, we mentioned and we realized GCCE has a really that stun is just gonna go a little wide there. Now Volva just does not have a lot of capabilities there after the stun. There's just no respect here for the side of Souless and the dangerous capabilities that they have, because now this is late game and this is Souless's game right now, as now you see tier 2 mid lane going to be decimated. They set their sights onto the tier 3 and I don't think anyone will be able to contest this. I do like the Zyra flank through the back, but there's no ultimate to be used and there's no response from GCCE.
I mean, listen, it certainly looked like that was Allsmite's last chance to win this game because at this point, Soul could just deathball. You know, the only thing holding them back is mana and minions, but they have a new wave coming in hot, and that's probably why the Zyra is in the backline. They just want to take it away, but if Soul ever turns onto this plant, they will just shrivel up and die. They're not tanky, they don't have any escape. The only thing they can do is root, but now that that's on cooldown, Soul just kind of has free reign to just run all over their jungle.
See? As now you just see the damage coming from the Aurora there. Tao taking so much, has to retreat on back. And now, it's crazy to even say, we're on Souless's soul point here. And this is their third Drake, and this is going to be Ocean Drake. That's going to be, what, about 6% healing back after this fight? It's like having another support on top of it. This flank is insane right now. Nagu finds the flank on the red panda, but just kind of leaving the rest of the team alone as Viego finds the execute onto the Caitlyn. But Louis has so much damage going to flash himself out of there. Jake the Dragon is going to just drag it up, try to walk away, but the burn finally coming through from Ref, who hasn't joined a lot of these fights just yet, has now finally decided to kind of join up. But is it too little too late with Souless soul point position and a 2.3k goal? Dandadan looking to try to close IDK out. Nice damage up against the wall. The CC is there. As Rev now looking for the flank, but it's not going to be enough there.
They have been chasing this.
Just kind of walk away. Yeah, that's Poppy for you.
I mean, yeah, I was just gonna say they've just spent like the past minute running after this Poppy, and you know, as disastrous as that was for Soul, that was the fight that Allsmite really needs to have, because again, we've been talking about how this Viego is you know, low-key underperforming. We hoped it was going to do a little bit better, being able to find some early success in the mid lane, but now it's just kind of been resorted to a split pusher. Like, that's all they can do right now. But that fight proves that they do still have the damage, and there is still a lot of value in that Viego ultimate, and of course, taking the opponent's bodies. You know, the stronger they are, the stronger the Viego ultimate is. But again, Soul, this is their soul point, and if they do get this Dragon Soul, I don't think the Shyvana is going to die anymore.
Oh no, I don't think anyone on the side of Soulless dies anymore if they're able to secure this Baron, or excuse me, this soul point.
Yeah,
is division control for this side of Souless is fantastic. Check it out. The dragon is nice and handled. And now GCCE are going to be walking blind in the next 3 minutes if they don't handle that.
Ooh, Poppy has a nice engage onto the Zyra. That is definitely the top. That is definitely the pick that you want. A nice ulti is going to keep that Viego from doing anything. But again, that Lily is just chunked out well before they can actually do anything against the sleeping Poppy. And, you know, we already know how much Allsmite loves to take these early Barons. I don't think they can take it anymore. They have to find a pick now. Otherwise, Soul could just take it. They could just steal it. We've seen how much this Caitlyn melts. And, I mean, with the oh my goodness, I lost my train of thought, but you know what I mean, right? With that,
Right.
not Essence Reaver, the Infinity Edge, my goodness. With the Infinity Edge in hand, she gets so much extra damage because that headshot turns into a head nuke.
Oh yeah, and if they play it properly, they can drop it and do it multiple times and just continue applying the pressure here. So they really have to respect their this Caitlyn and be careful how they approach this Baron. As you see, it's warded, it's protected by the cupcakes as well too. As Rev just looking for a little bit of poke, Jake with the rage ready to go. Gotta say, been piling Shyvana fantastically here, doing tons of damage here, and also being able to stun as well. Dan now, as they do find the flank. Caitlyn left by themselves. This is a killing spree. Now the 4 to 5. They have to respect this. The ultimate from Zyra going to go a little wide, but it is going to give them the position in the pit.
I mean, that is going to be a free Baron. Allsmite finally able to punch back once again, showing the power of this composition, because if the, once they found the Caitlyn, there was almost no damage left for Soul. Like, yes, obviously the Aurora has damage. Pardon me. Yes, the Shyvana has damage. Yes, even the Poppy, to some extent, has a little bit of damage, but Caitlyn is just so monstrously powerful on her own that the second you take her away, that is so much range and so much DPS taken out of Soul that they really just have nothing left, and all they can do is just give the Baron, which is going to feel so amazing for Allsmite.
Oh no, you gotta be feeling a little bit of bit of breath of fresh air here. It's been a very tight game. Souless still on the cusp of winning this game. Still have sole position. It doesn't matter that you're able to secure this Baron and starting to get a little bit of gold under your pocket. You're still gonna have to be at that Dragon Pit in the next 30 seconds.
Yeah, and again, like we have been saying, they cannot miss this. Oh, that Shyvana's going to go in now. I mean, we were talking about how they cannot miss this.
Nice.
That is a very dead jungler. They're going to prolong it just a little bit with a nice Taric ulti, but where are they going to be there to shut it down? They're going to continue to fight. Now Viego not able to find anything as they just barely save the Poppy. They are not done yet, though. A nice Dazzle is going to stun up that dragon once more, but at this point, the dragon is here for money, and it smells gold in the water. It takes out Taric. It's going to be taken out the Samira. Jake has slain absolutely everyone in this game before, and Soul, it's just going to be a call to run it down mid and just end this bad boy up.
Yeah, really close call. The turnaround, it was a very back and forth here for GCCE and for Souless. But once Souless did get a position and they found their lead, they really solidified their lead and really had a better game control and answers for the side of GCC, who really had a great early opening, but could not find a closeout, as we see game 1 going to Souless.
I mean, yeah, all we could say is absolute cinema, because after dare I say, being beaten to their knees by Allsmite in the early game, Soul was able to overcome and very decisively steamroll whatever hopes Allsmite had of winning map number 1 in the last half of that game. Now, this is Fearless Draft, and a lot of these very strong champions, obviously you said Shyvana isn't in the most comfortable spot right now, which I do agree. One of her biggest strengths is, of course, that dueling power, and of course, that unstoppable AoE fear. That is one of her best tools, in my opinion. But now that's taken off the table, Soul is really going to have to, adjust their game plan, because again, the Poppy is a very good answer to a lot of these, should we say ADC busters. Now that's off the table. They can't play it anymore, and Allsmite might be able to just draft like a Talon or Yasuo, and whatever ADC that's oh my goodness, that's Souless is going to be able to draft is just going to be gone in seconds.
Yeah. Like we mentioned earlier, draft mattered there a bit. And Smite was having a lot of fun with that draft. It was very exciting to see. And I think they had a really good idea, but there was just really no ending there for it. Souless, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, went standard. And this is the reason why we have our standard composition. And they showed exactly as to why. Really nice performance. Again, it was very back and forth, and the gold graph there shows it. It shows it there yourself. Souless able to pick it up. Smite went back and forth into the lockdown there, and able to kind of run away with it. And now Souless game point on this final week, where every game matters. Can they close this out with a 2-0 Or does Smite have some really cool other team compositions ready to use and ready in their arsenal? We're going to have to find out, and we'll know our answer soon as we get back from this break. Don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back. Ember, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. If you're just tuning in, it is your boy Huey with me. It is Mr. Gareth. Souless is up 1 and just a match away to closing things out tonight. But GCCE have been having a crazy team composition. They had some answers early. It just seems like they kind of dropped the ball and couldn't really figure how to close out the game, giving Souless enough time to really just kind of bunker down the barracks, find what they needed to do, scale from that mid game, and never look back into a fantastic late game into a win. And now, like Gareth mentioned, it is Fearless. So 10 characters are going to be off the board already. Another 10 for 20. I'm excited to see where we're going. And already these first round picks are kind of about the same, but at the same time a little different.
Yeah. Before we do talk about the draft, though, something I have been teasing in map number 1 is, of course, the Cinderella story. That is Souless because, as I was telling Huey a little bit before, they were fighting tooth and nail to play together because, in fact, before they did come together, they were all playing on different teams. And what's really special is that they were all rejects. They were told that they're not good enough to play in the big leagues. They were told that they're garbage, they're doo-doo, they're filth, and they were all sent away from their respective teams. And it was all IDK, the Poppy from last game, who, he put the hammer down, pun intended, and said, that's enough. I'm going to be playing with people I want to play with, and we are going to do well. We're going to show all of you that we are much more than what you think we are. And they put together this dream team, and as we saw in map number 1, it is absolutely paying off how much, the powerhouse that they have drafted together. There is so much synergy with them. Even though they've only played a couple games together and only played a couple of different tournaments, they are absolutely punching above their weight. And correct me if I'm wrong, I do believe they lost to Allsmite in the season before.
I'm almost sure that is correct, or it was back and forth. We'll have to get back. Hopefully someone can check that for us in staff. But either way, it's always a very difficult position to be in when told you're not good enough. Sometimes it's just you don't have the cohesiveness or just the synergy with the said people. Sometimes it's the environment. It's never really always the said person. And you could have fooled me otherwise, because I would have definitely enjoyed either one out of either all 5 of them on a team there. I mentioned a little. I just mentioned it. The cohesiveness between this team was fantastic. Between Souless, everyone knew what they needed to do. A lot of trust, and it's difficult losing early to come back later into
Right.
this game. You have to have that strong mental, and it shows from that there alone that they know loss and they understand what it is and they can handle it. And because a lot of people get fragile in this game.
Oh
Mental
yeah.
can shatter very easily. You go 0-2 and you're like, that's it. It's the end of the
Yep.
game. You forget
15
that there's
guys.
15, it's
Yeah.
over. You forget that there's 4 other people on your team, man, and that there's still plenty of action to happen. So with that,
Absolutely.
Souless has to be feeling very good with themselves, and I would
Oh
be
my goodness, that's a code singed. I hate to interrupt, but
oh
dude,
man,
look at that. Sound
interesting.
the alarm bells. Six-pack fans, we are going to be eating good
Let's
tonight.
go.
That is a singed with a capital S. And of course, Zach as well. Easily one of my favorite champions, but Huey, I apologize, man.
No,
I
you're fine.
love
I was interested to see where the Singe was going to go, but I think it's going to be a top lane Singe there,
Oh,
for us.
mhm.
Locking in for the victor. I'm not the favorite. Listen, I myself am a six-pack student. Okay, I am also in the Secret Antarctica server. All right, I know there's only 100 of us out there, and
Mhm.
yeah, just Singe is such a difficult character to deal with or just to play as. And I think
Mhm.
Gragas, Akali, either any fighter, almost any top laner, like where is Singe winning? Where is
I
Singe
think
winning?
I think he
What is
beats the
his winning
Zach in this
position?
matchup. I'm not gonna lie to
Yeah,
you.
you think? But
I think
That's Zach
so.
Jungle.
Oh, that's gonna be Zach top. Hey man, mark my words. Listen, we already
No
know for a fact
way.
that Allsmite really loves to cook up these kind of crazy comps. Trust me, when I say this, I think I can soul read and see right through them. That is a Silas mid. Actually, probably a Karma Kindred bot lane. Oh, actually, no, a Kali
Silas
top Zach
Min?
jungle. No, never mind. You
Yeah,
are
yeah, yeah,
correct.
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
lied.
I was like,
I
no
lied.
way. No way.
Yeah,
Akali
yeah.
eats up. I mean, even the Zac matchup, I could give the Zac matchup to Singe, but then that's like
Mhm.
an unorthodox top laner. You
It
know what
is.
I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, give me a top laner like Aatrox, Darius, Garen. Like,
Mhm, mhm.
that's 3-0 right there on Singe right now. You do
Absolutely.
have a little bit of the cheeky proxy farming, but really
Mhm.
there's not a lot of per se characters that really allow you to get away with it anymore. And people
Yeah, yeah.
also know better with the way the top lane experience works. You don't chase the Singe anymore. Because if you chase the Singe
Yeah.
behind the tower, you
That's
don't
natural
gain your
selection.
experience. You do not gain your experience there, and your quest
Mhm.
doesn't gain, and you're just really putting yourself even further behind. So it kind of becomes kind of a gentleman's like, hey, I proxy, you proxy. And
Yep.
then it's like, who would you rather be? Who would you rather have bigger on your team? Would you rather have a bigger Singe or bigger Akali? I'd
Yeah.
rather have the bigger Akali, if I'm being honest, especially in the
Yeah.
top lane.
Yeah. I do happen to agree, but again, there's a lot of different question marks with Allsmite's composition. I think you're just gonna have to give us a little bit
Oh
of
yeah.
time to just smooth things out, because I might be completely wrong. In my heart, I want to say that this is Zach top, but again, looking at the team comp, I'm pretty sure it is gonna be planted in the jungle. Of course, for Solas, that is a lot easier to guesstimate. I would assume it's gonna be Seraphine Misfortune, very powerful combo. Again,
Mm-hmm.
very standard.
Mm-hmm.
Like you've been saying, they do like to draft it. Xin Zhao as well, a phenomenal character into the jungle as well, and it's
Oh
also really
yeah.
good into Zach. It can knock away his when he's flying over with his E, it can knock him up so that he can't escape. There's a lot of different uses for the Xin Zhao into the Zac, so I think it's quite good. And of course, the Singed E to flip away the haters, as we were talking about in map number 1, absolutely poetic. He whips it out here, and of course, Victor as just a giant failsafe in case the early game goes not in Solus's way yet again, because you know what, the early game maybe not the strongest against Allsmite's comp here, but the Victor is definitely going to be putting in work in that late game comp.
I like Solus's composition here. Again, if it's not broke, don't fix it. The only, I guess, per se weakness, if you want to consider that a weakness or an angle, I guess you would try to attack. I would say the top side. I would say top side would be a little bit of a weak side, but really, it's not the end of the world. Because a lot of
Mhm.
this game is really focused into bot lane. It's a very jungle heavy meta as well too. So I think you can take a little bit of slack on that top side. Go Singe, just kind of
Mhm.
go for the trolls. Bother the
Yeah,
Akali.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, honestly, Akali ults wrong, Kali,
Yep, that's it.
yeah, if a Kali executes or misproperly executes their combo, they easily can get flipped out of smoke and right under a tower, get stuck,
Mhm.
and will just kind of fall victim to the to the clips and the edits. So Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. If you guys are just tuning in, it is your boy Huey on the mic. With me is the GOAT, Gareth himself. Souless is up 1 already. We'll be taking blue side this game too. GCCE, on the other hand, need the Cinderella story now to fall on their end, and they're going to need to do the reverse sweep. And I think you actually got your wish, Gareth. Look where Rev is taking. Talmora trying to get that aura that they got game 1. They will not receive the same respect this time as Jake does push forward onto them. Bot lane, on the other hand, shall respect each other with the dance battle. And already, IDK working and using his Antarctica server ability, starting with it. But again, like I mentioned, it's going to be a gentleman's call. My issue here is, who would you now rather, who would you think is it better, bigger? Is it Silent, or is it Singed, or is it Zach? That's a tough one now.
Right, it's hard to call it, but I do think that you don't want to prioritize the top lane, because yes, obviously you don't want the Singed to run away with the game, you know, pun intended, but at the same time, Zach is Zach, right? Stuns are stuns, knockups are knockups. They will always be useful. Even if Zach goes 0-20, he still has a second life, and he can still stun for his team, which again, Kindred, again, usually we see it in the jungle, but it is a very powerful ADC, especially for that late game. So I think, you know, you just want to protect the Kindred. That's literally it. Zach can handle himself, he's all good.
Yeah,
how about you though? Where do you see this going?
I don't know, man. The top side of field really matters. You get so much bigger and from the experience wave here, but you can't let Singe just play his games here. Of course, Singe is going to fall. Singe is gonna gonna play his shenanigans, but you can't just let him kind of just dictate what goes on here. Yeah. I'm still a little concerned for GCCE's bot lane as well too. Kindred is an ADC, yes, but are they an ADC? Like, come on, let's be for real. Yeah. I like the riskiness, but this is week 7. You know what I'm saying? Again, every game matters. Even if you're not playoff position, you should still play as if you're playoff position, because let's be for real, this is all practice for next season if you're not in playoffs.
100%, man. It's always good to be putting in the reps, and I do think that IDK has been putting in the reps on the Singe, because as he told me in a special interview before the game happened, he has a ridiculous amount of pocket picks. So I do think that Singe is actually one of the champions he is very comfortable in, especially because you don't really see it often. Now, against the Zach, I don't know how comfortable he is, but based on how he's kind of maneuvering around that fight, he did avoid death and is going to force the flash. So I actually think he's kind of comfortable with it. Down to the bot side, though, not done with the action, as the Xin Zhao is going to be coming in for a nice counter gank onto the Silas. Chains go wide, but now Misfortune able to free hit just little bits. And it's going to be a call to just kind of slow down. They want to bait and buy time for the Xin Zhao to potentially come in for a meaty gank. But with Seraphine out of mana, I do think that it's going to be a call to leave.
Yeah, I think it's just wishful thinking there with the approach there with Jake coming for the bot lane. And really nice approach here. Kind of making me eating these words with GCCE's bot lane, able to kind of get this early lane ahead. The slow was fantastic there. No marks were locked in just yet for the side of GCCE's Kindred, but with having the option of being able to get marks, it could get a little dangerous there if they're able to find success with it. But I mean, it's MF, it's Seraphine. You're really just kind of biding time for that level 6, and as long as your level 6 isn't whiffed and your both ultimates just don't go completely wide or get easily red, you guys should be fine.
100%. And one thing that I do want to call out, you know, just kind of speaking of ultimates, there is a colossal wombo combo for Allsmite if they are able to take this Seraphine ulti and use the Zac ulti. That is just going to line up everyone perfectly for a meaty execution from that Akali. But again, they have to survive there, because even though Allsmite has very strong characters, they have to survive until late game, because early game, they're kind of getting slapped. I'm not going to lie. We're seeing this Kindred engage. That's going to be all the summoners popped as well. No, just the heal, excuse me. But even still, right, they tried to get so much out of it, but the Seraphine is just too fast, and the Kindred doesn't really hurt that hard yet.
Yeah, honestly surprised Kindred is doing so well in the lane. I really just assumed to double up and just kind of the overall just ability of Seraphine's double down just to poke is just not going to really have them any time. And now trying to lock down IDK. IDK just going to throw Talmora away, as now Jake looking for the flank. Now taking a lot of damage from Dandadan. Dandadan with the 1, 2, 3. The easy 1, 2. Good night. Beautiful execute as well with the 5-point shuriken finish. And you just got to be careful there. You're looking for the 2v1 there. Jake was looking for the gank. And it did look like a great angle there. And it seemed that Victor was coming. But Victor didn't want to approach and kind of be on his own there. As we get to check out that little gold graph on the side there, it will be Talmora and Dandadan here with the gold lead, with the bot lane and junglers right behind. But in terms of creeps, it will be the side of Souless leading, as we do see IDK just going to be able to get that nice flip, get Rev off of them, and just kind of continue trying to push forward here.
Absolutely, and as we take a look at the Singe a little bit more, obviously you were talking about the secret Antarctica server. You know, there's only 100 of you in there, and I tried to get in with my 30,000 Challenger LP account, and I was not accepted. So, obviously, you know, keep the secrets hidden, because you got to be there for a reason. I do want to ask, like, just based on what you know about the Antarctica super server, what do you expect this Singe to be building?
I'm really hoping to see some really out-of-pocket things. But, ooh, you gotta hold that thought here as we see Dandadan with the dive. The triple tower shot is going to be more than enough to find the 1-for-1. But with Dandadan having such a lead and having the wave kind of crash there in the mid, I feel like that was pretty worth for the side of Dandadan. Able to pick up their items. They're gonna get the alternator as well, too. That's gonna be a very scary Akali to deal with. But back to Singed, I'm really hoping to see a Roa, hopefully in their future, into kind of your basic. You're gonna get your maybe a Leandries, and hopefully Ryla Scepter, and then kind of just maybe go tanky from there. Hopefully we don't see just a bunch of AP burst. That's what I'm really hoping not to see.
Right. Yeah, Singe definitely going to be one of the main front lines for Soul, because other than the Xin Zhao, they don't really have anything to start a fight. Again, we were talking about that flip a little bit earlier. You're flipping away all the haters, but also to just kind of interrupt a lot of the engage that Allsmite can cook up, because obviously Zac is very, very strong, but his ulti is only going to work if he's up close, and the second Singe flips away, it's just not going to be very easy. That being said, down to the bot lane though, Kindred forced to ult right away. Lamb's Respite going to be coming down. He's going to get a nice heal, but that is a big, big investment. Now that's going to be on cooldown for, I believe it's 200 seconds at level 1, which is absolutely monstrous. Up the top side, though, Zac having a little bit of trouble now. Has to pop the Let's Bounce. He's trying to bounce, but it's just not going to be enough as the Singe out healing. That might just be some, you know, a little bit of a sneak peek at the Antarctica super server technology. But the big bad Silas going to be coming in. Has to pop the Ghost. Where can he do it? Does he have the... He does not break the ankles, and Silence absolutely... slam dunks the Singe down to the bot lane, though. A bullet time goes wide, and Kindred just a cough away from dying as Akali takes a trip down bot lane. Soul, they have to find a way out, because the heal is just not going to be enough to escape this misfortune. The flash is going to be coming out too, but it's just not enough. And Dandan gets a Dandan double.
GCCE there. Dandadan mid lane is a threat to be reckoned with right now. 4-1-0. This, I don't know what the answer is to stop this Akali, but it needs to be found out immediately before it starts to continue to get out of hand.
Absolutely, it does, because one of the main things that can shut down a lot of this late game pressure, especially in the form of the Victor, is this Akali, which is, I mean, currently just making an example of how this Victor needs to play the lane. He's got to be careful. He has to step a full screen away, otherwise this Akali could just turn him into Swiss cheese in a matter of seconds. Up at the top lane, Zac gonna ready up once again onto the Singed. These guys have been non-stop man fighting for the past literally 10 minutes. It's a little crazy. They are gonna be able to hit the root, but the Zac healing is just so much. It's hard to cut him down without ulti, which does give a nice little bit of healing cut.
Yeah, honestly, you're gonna have to get a little bit of healing for the side of GCCE, and a lot sooner than later. With the Zac, the Akali, the Kindred as well too. Silas as well. Yeah, everyone can heal you're gonna have to respect it and be very careful here, as now it looks like the dive may be possible and you may get the dream that you're looking for, as you do see Silas hijack that Seraphine ult.
Oh, up at the top side, though, Zach has just lost the duel.
Uh-oh.
Singed, it's all but signed, sealed, and delivered. That poison is to be taken down, unless Wages, they can turn it around. They actually turn it around. They will out of the poison, but that is absolutely style points, as Singed manages to pick up their first kill of the game. Right now, the kills are looking a little bit lopsided, but definitely in favor of Allsmite, 7-2.
Yeah, no, you're gonna have to be extremely careful here, as now we saw GCCE in this position earlier. They have to make sure that they keep it, and now Nagu in a very much danger. Jake with a great gank here. The Encore going to stack on it to Voav, and then now that's going to be a 2-0 turnaround, as it was for the side of GCCE's mid lane. Now Souless' bot lane is going to pick it up, and they're going to start not... I really thought I was going to see a little bit of a pressure, get some plating here, but I think they saw the Silas rotating, as now the Silas is going to go wide with that Encore as we head over to the top side. Rev looking for an opening, going to get flinged back into the minions.
Yeah, Hollow Radiance almost online as well, which is going to help Zach essentially just push these waves instantly. You know, it's just going to be one W, and then the Hollow Radiance is going to be doing a lot of the work. Singed already on that Rod of Ages as well is going to make him deceptively tanky, so they are going to have to invest a little bit more, because one thing is that Leandres is going to be putting in absolute work, because of course Karma is going to give shield. Zach builds a lot of health, Silas builds a lot of health, even Akali to some degree builds some health.
Yeah, and they heal as well too. Lambert Spike going to go down around the Drake, so allowing it to have a little bit of more time. But now you're just going to give Murthay a little bit of time to set up this bullet time. They will find a really nice ult, but now Dan looking on the back line, finds the Seraphine, will have to retreat on back. Souless able to secure the Drake, but GCCE with the kills, but the gold lead is shifting to Souless.
That was a beautiful play there. Even though they did lose the objective, they took a handful of kills to try to even out the game, which, you know, is certainly very, very good, because it does start to put Soul a little bit behind with their amazing late game comp that they did manage to draft. But Victor potentially going to be in a very rough situation, as his mid tower is being sieged. They're trying to stop the Silas from ransacking the jungle to try to give Xin Zhao just a little bit more gold to play with, but he's up on the top side. And honestly, the Kindred as well, we're talking about the jungle. I haven't seen her get a mark, unfortunately, and as is the nature with ADC Kindred, but how do you scale without these marks?
Yeah, that's the overlying issue there. Trying to play Kindred in a lane, it makes it extremely difficult to get the marks. That's why you use them in the jungle. You know, you lock on only two people, and then it's kind of obvious, you know, when you're trying to go in. So with that, it's just kind of what happened with GCCE last game. They were able to find this early game. They were doing some things, but once it shifts to the mid game, there's some overlying issues. They find a little bit of an angle, but then again, Souless flips it back, and now Souless with almost 1,000 gold lead. They may not be winning in kills, but they do have the objectives edge with a Drake and the Voids again.
Absolutely, they do. And once again, Victor's going to try to stop the side lane pressure from the Akali. Xin Zhao is going to be coming in as well. But as we take a look at the mid lane, the action is still not over. But down back in bot lane again, Execution is going to come out, which is going to save them. The Chaos Storm actually going to be invested. Akali just barely able to escape with a nice 5-point shuriken. But over there in the mid lane, the Silas is going to be ripping the bolt time, but it's going to be a reverse bolt time with an Encore combo. It's doing so much damage, but no kills just yet. The Kindred has to be very careful. They're running straight into the Xin Zhao, who is able to pick up the freest kill in the world. And now Silas is probably going to be invaded by the Xin Zhao very low as well, so they do have to be very, very careful. And down to the bot side, Victor able to take plate after plate after plate of getting these minions shoved in.
Yeah, that's exactly the stuff you're going for. The Uno reverse back and forth, but now Souless going to find the victory here. Jake with the double, as now this could possibly be the end of dance, but now the bot lane power, the CC, the lockdown, the flash forward, the double ult, the Lambert spike to keep Dan alive. A very close call here. I really like the aggression of Souless, able to finally find a bit of a lead here. The kills were in the pocket of GCCE, but we have never seen them with a gold lead. And now
Right.
Souless with now a near 3,000 gold lead.
Certainly a very, very good position for Soul. You know, again, we have seen them struggle a little bit in the early game, which I do think has happened yet again in map number 2. But mid and late game, it looks like they're just kind of starting to run away with it because Dan only got saved with a huge investment from the Kindred. That was both Flash and ulti. So now the Kindred is going to be as squishy as literally any other champion out there. And wait just a moment, Silas, looking for that hijack. He's going to find it, but could have found himself in a very difficult spot as Zach as well. Potentially a big fight coming over for this Rift Herald.
How they handle it here.
Ooh, Victor stepping up. Has to use the gravity well, I believe that's called. And Kindred taking so much damage just from a couple spells. And Xin Zhao maybe looking for an engage.
I think this is the angle that GCC kind of needs to find their way back into it. They need to kind of allow themselves into these objective pits and not allow the objectives go for free. But this poke from Souless is a very difficult. Dan, their strongest character, is in the bot lane. So I don't think you really can contest this. And I don't know if this is really the answer here. 2-3 bot lane is going to go down. But you're going to lose that Rift Herald. I don't know if that's the right call.
It's hard to say, but I do think that if you are Soul, again, you are down in kills, but you are up in gold, and that is what's important, because kind of like we saw with game number 1, we did see Allsmite, you know, force the Herald and Dragon situation where, you know, they forced the other team to just pick between losing a couple of mid towers or losing that Dragon, and it looks like Allsmite is going to be having a taste of their own medicine as a nice encore.
Oh, man.
It's going to land on the
This
so
is
many.
it.
Unfortunately, the Silas ulti is not going to be able to find any Souless as the bolt time does not find a crazy amount of value. And wait just a minute, where are they going to be the last man standing pretty much in that little fight there? Victor going to be coming in to try to clean up the karma. Yes, they can, but now they are going to be turned on by Dan, as Zach gets into the action as well. That is going to be a very dead machine man, as Zach is not even going to have time to jump in to get some glory, and that is going to be a free dragon for Allsmite.
Souless had the angle, Souless had the advantage, Souless had everything that they need to start closing this out and go home with the 2-0, but GCCE still had the Akali angle always, and you still have to respect it. Yeah, you're winning in just about every other lane, but Akali is still Akali. And you just saw a really beautiful flank there, a beautiful 3-4 pickup, and now the gold is still to the side of Souless, but that was a near 3,000 gold lead. It is now shrunk to about 1,500.
And again, the Singed, you know, maybe I was wrong. I didn't think that top lane needed a bunch of attention, but now that the Singed has those, yeah, no, they do have the Swifties. They are going to be getting that Leandres as well, which, as I said before, is going to be putting in absolute work onto Allsmite, because so many of their champions have, you know, naturally decent base health, and basically half of them are going to be building health anyways.
Yeah, you gotta, you know, again, this is what we were mentioning earlier. You can't just let Singe kind of get to his own devices here. He will kind of run away with the game, and it's just so difficult to deal with. It is a AP heavy side for GCCE, so running through the Singe ultimate can spell danger, as Souless finds a beautiful pick here onto Karma. Rev now with the answer and the response. The bullet time only going to find Jake, but now IDC going to fling back Zach. The hijack of the bullet time is going to find the damage. Naga is going to go down. The fling going to find another one. Rev going to get popped, as now Silas trying to help out the homie is going to pay with his ultimate sacrifice. Now it's Dan versus the world. Can he do it? They cannot. That's going to be the double kill. Souless, the back and a forth, finally finding the angle they need to try to close this game of 2 out. 4K gold lead. Tier 2 down. Now, where are they going to set their sights?
It is definitely going to be that, Baron. It's only up in just a few seconds, and yeah, half the team is not going to be alive. Well, half of Allsmite's team is not going to be alive by the time that it spawns, so I would imagine that this is going to be the #1 priority, because as we saw in that one fight, even though GCCE is up in kills, well, you know, they were up in kills. They were not able to find anything. Even with Dan's colossal gold lead over his lane opponent is now just shrunk down to 2k, whereas before I believe it was 3.5k. And again, he popped like a balloon. He came in late, and even though, I mean, yes, he's an assassin. He's not the tankiest champion ever, but even still, you would think that the Akali would be able to find the ADC, you know, find the squishy support, but they just couldn't. They couldn't even enter the fight without being knocked up and just slain.
Yeah, it is unfortunate, but again, these are the things that you have to be careful and you have to be looking out for. Your gold lead really doesn't matter if you don't have a proper lead or a proper angle onto this fight, and you can't be coming in so late. Yes, you want to come in, you know, towards the end of the fight once all the CC abilities are down, but you don't want to be coming in once the rest of your team are already gone.
Absolutely. I mean, we've got a few different fights going on here. Since I'm going to be finding the opener onto the Silas. That could be a nice ulti coming in hot. That is going to be the Singe going to be entering up as well. Crescent Guard could be popped. There goes the Karma. I mean, the Silas as well could be struggling to try to get rid of this Singe that is chasing him down over there. Muerte able to get a double kill, taking down, I believe that was the Akali from earlier. And now it's just going to be a Zac versus the world. He's got 3,000 health by himself, but against the, you know, the machine that is Soul, I don't think there's anything left for him to do.
Yeah, this is exactly where they want to be. Mid inhibitor will fall. They will play it slow. They're not going to risk their entire lives here. Akali back on the respawn as well, too. I think really next angle now is Baron. Position for another Drake in the pocket and look to close this a pretty decent clean Gleam 2. GCCE's window of opportunity is closing rapidly.
It absolutely is. If there is one way into the game, I do think that it is going to be this Kindred, because even though Soul has quite a lot of engaged tools, if the Kindred can save Dan, I do think that there's a really good chance that Dan could just kind of hop around and kill so much of the damage that Soul has. Granted, Singe not going to be the easiest target to take out, and giving that ulti to Silas, arguably one of the most slept on ultis in the game, mind you, that could be the tide that is going to be turning it. But as I say that, Karma going down immediately, that TP going to be looking extra vulnerable as the Zac spawns with an entire health bar, probably bigger than the Misfortune's health as a whole. The fight's just going to keep on going down. Lambs for Strike going to be popped as well. That's going to be a double knockup from the Zac onto the carries, but Huerta has to flash away. Can he get anything crazy? He's drawn on by the Silas, trying to kite it out, but it's just not going to happen. Over up at the top side of the fight, that is going to be Dan biting the dust. And now Victor once again shoving the last hopes of Allsmite off of this dragon. Not quite soul point for either team, but even still, if you are Allsmite, you need to make something happen here. It looks like they are going to cook something up from the tri-bush. They know what's happening. And with Silas, maybe they could do it. That's going to be the slingshot coming in. It is going to be committed. Now the Silas going to be dropping down that Chaos Zone himself. But an Encore is not going to, it's just barely going to miss the Silas. Zac gives his life for free, but now it's going to be a Silas on the run. Can he do it? The Demacian criminal cannot get away from the machine madman. Now over to the Karma. They're going to try to run away. Can they actually get it? That's too fast, and they are able to live once more.
That was a crazy bout of exchange there, and it's really just unfortunate. It just kind of shows how far GCCE has come from this game, where it was a very back and forth and a very close game. You could see the sustain start to kick in for Souless, and their survivability just started to just keep them alive and keep them going, as they just could not find an angle and really just seal the deal on any Soulless team member that they found. And it's really just super unfortunate there. And now Dan, I really want to say, is suffering the most from it.
100%, because again, he was so dominant in this game before, and now I mean, dare I say, he's kind of useless. We've obviously highlighted the strong points of the Akali, because yes, if they are able to manage to find this backline, or even the Victor for that matter, they can turn around this fight so easily. But it's just the challenge of getting onto the Victor, because again, you have the Singe there who could just put down the W on the Victor. He sends the Akali's coming in. Okay, boom, there goes the Goop, and now you can't do anything. And we're going to see that exemplified here as the Silas just cannot escape, and he goes down immediately
man,
with the bullet
there
line,
it is.
taking out the Zac as well. We do see Dan get onto the back line, but he doesn't manage to get the kill immediately. That is going to be the Kindred that is going to be coming in hot with a double kill on the Singe. Might be able to get a triple, but Jake is unstoppable. That Singe just going straight for the back line. Thankfully, his passive speed does run out, so Kindred will live to tell the tale, but Karma will not be so lucky, as once again, that's going to be a double kill with the Xin Zhao. This might be the game-ending kill here, as the Kindred, the last man or lamb standing, is going to have to be flipped back. That encore is coming in hot. It does manage to find them, despite the flash, and that is a beautiful kill to end up the game in a very, very clean 2-0 sweep.
Really, really strong performance here from Souless. Again, just able to bunker down the barracks, able to handle things, and just continue to make things happen. Talmora, the only one left alive. The Kings, the Kings Steel going to keep them alive, but it's not going to be enough. The Godlike, it's got to be feeling comfortable as the Nexus shrinks down to 10 to 5 to 1 to done. Souless, 10K gold lead, 2-0. Gotta be feeling good, leaving with a clean victory tonight.
Absolutely. And again, I will talk about this team until the day I die, because they have had a very hard time putting together this roster, because they were playing on a bunch of different teams and they were told that they were no good, that they were not, cut out for any of the rosters they tried out for. And after fighting tooth and nail to try to get onto these rosters, they eventually threw the towel. They said, all right, that's fine. We don't want to play with you anyway. We'll form our own super team. And just look at what they've accomplished. They've just completely run over, I believe, a higher seed team in both games very, very convincingly.
Oh yeah, you got to be feeling good